Welcome to the second module of Intro to the LifeContext template, Engaging Your Context, Life Modes. In the first module, Understanding Your Context, you were introduced to a walkthrough of the concept of context, its definition, an exploration of buzzwords in the definition, and an illustration of your life within the context of life in general. As a reminder, let's have another look before we move on. Remember this? Life is happening all around you. Whether you realize it or not, life, in its many manifestations and cycles, is continuous. Whether we are here or not, life was happening before you arrived here and will continue after you are gone. You might be saying to yourself, okay, I get it. Life is happening all around me, continuously. There's life, and there's my life. Again, this is your life as the event in the setting of life in general. There's life, and then there's your life. Understanding your life context with life in general sets the stage for where and how you need to function in your life and life in general, and with what means and methods you will address your life context. We can influence life and life circumstances, but really, you only control your life and how you engage life in general. The manner in which you engage life in general and manage and monitor your life is with and through life modes. Before we jump into introducing you to life modes of the Life Context template, let's begin with a walkthrough of gaining an understanding of the concept of modes. Similar to when we did a walkthrough to gain an understanding of the concept of context. What is a mode? A review of a dictionary definition will provide some insight and understanding about the concept of a mode or modes. Mode or modes, a way or manner in which something occurs or is experienced, expressed, or done. In a sentence, his preferred mode of travel was a kayak. As with the concept of context, the dictionary definition of mode offers several buzzwords worth exploring and expanding upon in order to gain an understanding of its meaning and application in your life context, especially when you start engaging your context. As we begin the walkthrough of the definition, there are two words that stand out as modes themselves: way and manner. Way seems to indicate or infer a method or technique or skill or a what, whereas manner seems to indicate or infer a style or approach, a how. The definition goes on to say that mode is a way or manner in which something occurs, is experienced, expressed, or done. Each of these ways or manners can be observed individually. In the context of your life and life in general, things occur. They are experienced, they are expressed, and they get done. Synonyms for these ways and manners of modes confirm its definition. Again, context comes into play even in looking at synonyms of words in a dictionary definition. Although each of these synonyms have definitions in their own right, they have specific meaning and provide insight within the context of the dictionary definition of modes. Without going through the whole list of synonyms, here are a few examples. The way or manner in which something may occur or happen. The way or manner in which something may befall or arise. In which something may transpire or ensue. Another example is the way or manner in which something may be experienced through participation, or involvement, in which something may be experienced through practice or immersion. For example, as participants in the LifeContext conference, we experienced insight and understanding about living our context through immersion and practice with the LifeContext template. There's also the way or manner in which something is expressed, spoken, or uttered, in which something is stated or voiced or communicated, or in which it is expressed through gestures or rendered visually or through action. Finally, in the context of synonyms in this dictionary definition, it is the ways and manners in which something is done, completed, finished, or ready. It has ended or concluded. It's a wrap. Just to have a final recap of this definition, mode or modes is a way or manner in which something or anything occurs or is experienced, expressed, or done. Now that we've done a walkthrough of understanding the concept of modes, it's time for your intro to life modes of the LifeContext template. The modes you will learn that are the ways and manners in which something in your life and life in general occurs or is experienced, expressed, or done. The modes with which you will be engaging your context. Welcome to the 3 R's of the Life Mode template: rest, reflect, and respond. The purpose of this Life Mode template is to provide a model, a framework, a prototype for deploying some actions and methods to engage aspects of your life and provide further context about yourself within the context of life in general. The 3 R's reflect the modes that we function in at any given moment in our life, whether consciously or unconsciously. We're going to explore how each of these modes and the elements within them work. Now, let's jump right in. Previously, with the Life Modes template, we saw the 3 R's represented as rest, reflect, and respond. Here, we see life modes of the 3 R's ready for action, with rest, reflection, and response. The 3 R's are action-oriented in nature. They are the life modes in which you engage life. They are integrated and interrelated. Each of the 3 R's has elements within that enable action or non-action in each area of your life and a response to life in general. That's why, although they are integrated and interrelated, it is important to understand the function and purpose of each of the life modes in order to understand how to engage your context. It's no coincidence that the integration and interrelationship of all 3 life modes are converging in rest. Rest is foundational for all life modes. It is a true reflection of the definition of a mode because it involves the ways and manners of things occurring, being experienced, expressed, and done, or not done. It is the place, the space, and the state of mind where you can take refuge, literally or figuratively, from the ups and downs of your life and life in general. Rest mode is where you become centered, where you return to and rely upon your foundation. It is where you are able to replenish yourself and where you meditate so that rest can occur. It can be experienced, expressed, and done. Being centered is like getting back to square one within yourself. And yes, sometimes getting back to square one in your life or circumstances. It is home base, your GPS starting point. When you are in rest mode, you're seeking that sense of being centered. nestled in a safe and secure place no matter what's going on with you or in your life. It is a place where you revisit the solitude of your origins and engage the infinite and eternity all at once. There's no time or place when you are centered in rest. It is a state of mind that is entered into actively while sitting quietly, or as a state of mind as you go about your day. Be centered. Your foundation is what you rest upon. It is that which you return to and rely upon, especially when you don't feel centered. Foundation means different things to different people, even if they share similar beliefs, thoughts, or experiences. Each person experiences these things in their own way. Some people rest upon religious or spiritual practices and beliefs, while others rest upon having an awareness of an unknown presence or power, while yet others marvel at the vastness of the universe and how we are a small part of it, yet significant nevertheless. Although there are many ways to consider how people define their foundations in life, one way to frame the distinctions that are many times involved in that discourse is to consider similarities in those distinctions, which can then provide some context for some general personal beliefs about foundation. Whether you consider yourself a religious person with a belief in a person or deity at the core of your belief, a spiritual person that may or may not be tied to a particular religious orientation, or a universalist that engages in an awareness and respect for the vastness of life experienced on earth and beyond. There are three principles that can frame these foundational distinctions. A religious or a spiritual context typically includes a person or deity as the principal relationship or focus, with a text or narrative that presents a plan for devotees and followers, and a promise or promises for how the plan is invoked and played out. And followers rely upon these three things: the person, the plan, and the promise. A similar context can be framed for the universalist, where instead of a particular person or deity, there is a point of view that considers that there is a source of power that created all things and governs, guides, and supports all things in some universal natural order, and that we are participants. Because there seems to be a natural order to things on earth and in the known universe, this point of view also believes there's a plan of some sort for each of us, all of us. Instead of promises outlined in a text or book, this point of view seems to consider priority as the foundation and natural order of things, including biological life on Earth, chemical and physical dynamics in life on Earth, the vastness of the cosmos, and fate in what occurs in each of these paradigms. Whatever your point of view, your foundation is what you return to and rely upon when seeking to be centered. Replenish. Rest is how we replenish, recharge, re-energize, and reset ourselves, again, so that we can become centered. Meditate. This is an active practice of being open to the energy that is life, and a primary way to practice rest. As we meditate, we release ourselves to the energy of life in order to access and understand these elements of rest. Have a look at our word cloud. The word cloud that you see on these slides provides some words related to rest just through stream of consciousness. You may have many more of your own words related to these aspects of rest that are meaningful to you. Here are some examples. Rest, state of mind, comfort, still, meditative, reflective, power, belief, tradition, heritage, resting state, resting action, foundation, support, pause, relax, recharge, reset, retreat, refuge, regroup, restart, assured, faith, rely, quiet rest, thrilling rest, ultimate rest, final rest. Remembering that all three life modes converge on rest, we revisit and recap the elements of rest. Being centered, which is the objective of rest, and then the foundation of rest, that which we rest upon and rely upon. Replenish the benefits of rest for our person and our soul, and meditation, the engagement of rest. Now that you've been introduced to the rest mode, let's have a look at reflection. Reflection. Remember the definition of context? The circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms of which it can be fully understood and assessed. It is the reflective mode where that understanding and assessment occurs, so that whatever the topic, it can be fully understood and assessed. Reflection is where thinking happens. It's where creativity and curiosity occurs. It's where we allow the cultivation of intuition and perception. It is a mode where thoughts and ideas are produced and refined, measured, and calibrated, where thoughts and ideas remain fluid and interchangeable, or they become crystallized and resolute. Reflection is the life mode where you receive tips for engaging your life and life in general. What are these tips and where do they come from? Tips is a framework that provides you with an awareness that enables you to evaluate any topic in your life and life in general. Let's have a look at how it works. Tips. T-I-P-S. The T stands for topic, word, focus. No matter what topic you're thinking about or discussing, or what word you're wanting to understand better, the TIPS framework begins with a focus on that topic or word. I. The I stands for insight. When evaluating or thinking about a topic or word focus, this is where you ask yourself, do I have insight about this topic or word? Insight is gained through images and ideas that come to mind that provide us with increased awareness of the topic or word we're evaluating, and ultimately providing us with information that we need for living our life and engaging our context. P. The P stands for patterns. Similar to insight, you can observe patterns related to the topic or word you're focusing on and evaluating. With the observation of patterns, you begin to identify certain principles related to patterns you recognize when evaluating a topic or word. Based on the principles in those patterns, plans emerge related to the topic or word and how the patterns and principles are applicable to your life. They form your intentions and your plan of action related to the topic or word. And finally, S. S stands for standards. Standards are the basis or foundation for measuring and calibrating the tips you receive, how you evaluate them, how you measure them, and how you use and implement them in your life. Standards, in some ways, relates to foundation in rest mode. The topics, the insights, and the patterns and principles being evaluated can be informed by foundations such as religion, business, science, education, family heritage, regional culture, and any other context. You must be aware of the standards by which you are exploring your tips. Other words related to standards can include values, morals, ethics, ideals, criteria, regulations, law, scripture, even point of view. You choose the context. Now you're going to go through an exercise that will better familiarize you with the TIPS framework and how it functions. This exercise will be more personalized based on the topic or word focus that you choose to explore. If you'd like, you can pause the presentation and print the TIPS worksheets from the worksheets bundle you received with your intro to the LifeContext template purchase, or you can use your own blank piece of paper to complete each section. To start the exercise, you will need to choose a topic or word to focus your reflection on. What do you want to reflect on or about? What tips are you seeking related to engaging your context, your life? Next, ask yourself, do I have insight about this topic or word? If the answer is yes, then what are the images that come to mind when you reflect on or think about the topic or word you chose? Did those images prompt or influence any ideas? Or did you simply produce ideas not having any images or visions, but simply an awareness of ideas? If the answer is no as to whether or not you have insight about the topic or word focus, then this is the true practice of reflection. This is where awareness and meditation and being centered work together to provide you with tips. In this case, insight through images, ideas, and information. Stop the presentation and take 5 or 10 minutes to reflect on your topic or word focus. Welcome back. Now, write down any images or ideas that come to you and information that you are aware of that came from the images and ideas. Write it all down. Capture the results of your reflection. This can be done while sitting and doing an exercise like this, as well as when you are on the go by retaining your thoughts and going through the process in your head. Continue the exercise with the P of tips: patterns, principles, and plans. Just as you did with insight, capture your reflections related to the P of tips in your writing or in your mind. Allow an awareness of patterns related to the topic or word you are focused on. Do you recognize any patterns in your thoughts or in the physical characteristics, if it's something physical, the way something is put together or organized? Are there any principles you could draw upon or align with related to the topic or word, especially a topic which may be from a conversation, news report, and current events, or just something you were pondering? Ironically, there may be times when you are in reflection mode and patterns and principles provide you with insight and information, or images and ideas reveal patterns or principles that provide information and plans. These are examples of integration and cross-referencing with the LifeContext template. We will explore these concepts in upcoming modules. For now, let's look at the S of tips and continue working through Intro to the Life Context template. As mentioned in the descriptions of the tips, standards are the basis or foundation for measuring and calibrating the tips you receive, how you evaluate them, how you measure them, and how you use and implement them in your life. Since standards are your point of reference related to how you are framing the basis of your reflection on the topic or word you are focusing on, this is where you write down or mention that foundational reference. It may be based on religious values or traditions, business practices, science or technology, education, family heritage, regional culture. Whatever the context of how you're comparing, measuring, calibrating, or complying with, write it down. Once you write the standard or standards you are gauging your actions or outcomes from reflection, revisit your tips for the topic or word you're focusing on and review if the information you gained from images and ideas and the plans you determined from patterns and principles also align with the context of your standards of success, achievement, or attainment you're seeking. You choose the context. Here's an example of walking through a tips exercise. The topic word focus is career. So you must ask yourself, do I have insight? Then take a moment to allow yourself to begin to see images about this topic or to have an awareness of ideas. The images and ideas may prompt questions such as, do I have a job or do I have a career? Or, am I in the right job or career? Or maybe, what does a fulfilling career look like to me? And perhaps, am I in the right city for the career that I want to have? Or should I have a job or start a business? And also, I've been very successful so far. Do I want to advance in my job or grow my business or spend more time with my family? These questions may prompt images such as the lifestyle you want to live, the home you want, the city or location you want, the car you drive, the vacations you take. Images may be of you receiving an award in your field or working with a certain team of people or working for a certain company. Ideas for getting the job you want, ideas for making the money you want, or ideas for prompting yourself or getting information you need to move forward with your new startup or going back to grad school in order to make yourself more marketable. These are examples of how the TIPS framework can help you evaluate your plans and decisions. Observable patterns, such as looking at job postings that are aligned with your desired career and insights and objectives. Understanding the methods of writing a winning resume. Watching online videos related to how to successfully start the online business you want to start and how it is done. Or observing industry trends in the sector you are seeking to work in as an employee or as a business owner. These are observable patterns. These patterns reveal principles such as how many times in dealing with your career choices, it's who you know, directly or indirectly, that creates opportunity, or it's a numbers game, or the career I want requires an advanced college degree, and if that successful person I saw online can do what it is that I am interested in doing, so can I. Take the time to practice with the TIPS framework, starting with any topic or word that you want to focus on. Then ask yourself if you have insight. Think about how you gain insight through images and ideas. Then determine if you recognize any patterns related to your topic or word, and if so, identify any principles that are related to those patterns and use that information to make your plans. Finally, think about what you are using to determine how aligned you are with what you consider to be a standard, a foundation, the basis of your choices, plans, and beliefs. Remember, in the Understanding the Context or Understanding Your Context module, you ask yourself, who am I? And what do I want? The tips that you gain through reflection can help you answer those questions. Now we're going to look at the third R of life modes, response. While rest and reflection are internal functions, response is where actionable choices are born. You may be asking yourself, response or responding to what? The short answer is to your life and life in general. But it could also mean response to the tips of reflection or responding to a state of mind resulting from some aspect of rest. These are all aspects of engaging your context, and your response may be in a micro or macro order of magnitude, depending upon the situation and, yes, the context. There is a model within the response life mode that provides some context for making choices and taking action based on those choices. Although it has a familiar sounding name, it is spelled different, and of course, it has a different meaning. This model is called vodka. Values, options, details, choices, and action. Vodka is very powerful because it provides some context for making choices and taking action based on those choices. In order to make choices about any topic or word focus, you need to be aware of what you value and what is of value to you. Once you understand your values about a topic, you can evaluate your options and the details of each of those options. The details inform which of the options you will act upon, and you make your choice on the one or more options you plan on acting upon. Once you make your choice, you decide how and when to take action. Values are not just moral values, but if you broaden the context, it can mean anything that you value. Favorite colors, preferred lifestyle, backpacking internationally versus traveling and staying in 5-star hotels. It could be as simple as coffee versus tea, blue versus red, by the ocean versus in the mountains. Values are your personal preferences that inform and drive your choices, whether consciously or subconsciously. Options. As you consider your values, you will have options for which choices you make or not make, and which actions you take or not take. Having an awareness that you have options in any given situation versus feeling as though you have no options is empowering. An assessment of your options by considering the details of each option is how you make quality decisions. Even when it seems your options are limited, vodka can help you make the best decision you can make within the context you are engaging. Options and details are applicable and needful for evaluating your values, choices, and actions. Each aspect of the response life mode requires a review and assessment of options and details. With values, you may like or prefer things that other members of your family or your roommates or your spouse may not like or prefer. You may have the option to continue doing what you like or prefer no matter how they feel or how it affects them. Maybe it's something like smoking. A person who values smoking has several options. One, they can continue smoking at home around family or with roommates. Two, smoke outside, but it's not as comfortable. Three, smoke when they go out for drinks. And four, decide not to smoke around non-smokers at all. Examples of details about this value of smoking are: 1. If they continue smoking at home or around family or roommates, someone else's health may be at risk. There may be a baby or child in the home. A roommate may have asthma. The home or apartment always smells like cigarettes. Another example of a detail of this option of smoking is smoking outside may not be an option where they live, or it may be winter and it's too cold outside, or the smoke wafts up into a non-smoker's window and they complain. Going out for drinks just to smoke means more money to spend. Quitting smoking would be good for the smoker and good for the people they are in contact with. The smoker will decide which option to choose and which option to choose based on the details. The same process applies for considering your choices by evaluating options and the details of those options related to the choices you will make. Once you make your choices based on your values, and you have evaluated those choices by considering your options and looking at the details related to your options, you're ready to take action. Taking action, just as with thinking about your values and making choices, requires that you consider the options for your actions. A review of the details of those options will provide clarity for your action, your response. You've been introduced now to the 3 life modes of the Life Context template. The 3 R's: rest, reflection, and response. Each of them contain attributes and tools for engaging your context. But remember, the 3 R's are integrated and interrelated, even though they also function individually and autonomously. So far, you've been introduced to understanding your context with an overview and exploration of the meaning of context and how it applies to your life versus life in general. You've also been introduced to life modes of the Life Context template: rest, reflect, and respond. Now it's time to apply the life modes to your life. It's time to go to the next module: living your context.